So welcome inventors to 2025. I hope you had enjoyed your holidays and you are prepared for a new year with a lot of novelties, especially here on the Inventor Garage. Okay, so as you know, I have been testing a lot of different printers here on the garage. Some of those printers I brought here on the English version channel, and someone I didn't, sorry. But the time is short and we are doing our best to bring as much as content as possible here on the English channel. But unfortunately, we are only two persons here working on the project, and sometimes the time is not enough. But I have been trying to bring a resin printer here to the garage in the last year, about a year. So one of the main reasons why I didn't buy a resin printer yet is that the resin printer, it's a little bit late talking about technology comparing to the FDM printing. So we have a lot of small things that the resin printing technology must to evolve, and that made me to wait a little bit before I buy my first resin printer. So today is the day when I will show you my first resin printer here on the channel, and I will bring to you in the first hand the experience of a newbie on a resin printer. So I never print on a resin printer before, and I even never saw a resin printer working on my front. So let me tell you just the points that made me wait to buy a resin printer until today, okay? So first of all, the most resin printers on the market doesn't have the Wi-Fi connection. So the most of them need the USB memory card to load the printing files into the printer. And this is not a kind of imperative to use a resin printer, but on my case, as I have two different environments here, two different places where I have printers, and not all the time I have time to keep watching the printer. So this, it's a kind of a problem for me because I need to have the possibility to watch and monitor remotely my printer. And one of the main resources to be able to do that is the Wi-Fi connection. So the other point is, of course, the monitoring. So webcam or even an AI to try to avoid the most common mistakes on the 3D printing process. So most of the resin 3D printers on the market doesn't have this kind of features, besides the fact that the resin printing make a lot of mess. So the resin, it's a little bit dirty and it drops everywhere and cause a lot of problems that you must clean up. So this is a common sense about resin printer, okay? Besides the fact that the resin itself stinks. It has a very, very strong smell, and in some cases it can trigger some allergic reaction on some more sensitive people. So it's something that you must be careful about handling the resin of 3D printing. So the resin, it's toxic. It's not something neutral, let's say like that. So you must be careful about that. Leveling, it's been a manual process on the most of the 3D printers on the market. So it makes me remember the FDM printing from 5 years ago, where you had to use a paper sheet and make the manual leveling, tight or loose screws to make the bed well leveled to be able to print properly, okay? So low geometric accuracy. This point is relative because we have a very well accurate 3D printers on the market, but usually these accurate printers has a higher value, so it's a kind of trade-off. So you have more accurate printers that cost exponentially more, and you have the cheaper printers that has a more accessible price. But this is not common. Usually this kind of problem it's caused by the mirroring system to reflect the UV light into the vat to cure the printing. So this is related to the technology, the architecture used to build the most printers on the market. The other problem is the low printing speed. Yeah, usually, or the most printers on the market used to print at 80 millimeters per hour. So it's not slow, but considering the speed we already have on the FDM printing, yeah, it's slow. And the biggest problem for me on the current generation of resin printers is the resin calibration. So as on the FDM printing, we have to calibrate the filaments to make sure that you are extracting the best performance and the best quality from that filament for that specific printer. And I already have a video here on the channel, so I will leave the card here and the link at the description if you want to watch the video where I teach you how to calibrate step by step the filament for your printer. Besides the fact that we have that on FDM, especially because of Orca, that brought us an entire menu dedicated to the filament calibration. At the resin printing market, we don't have that. Everything must be done manually, and it's so detailed and full of small steps and differences analysis, and that makes the resin printing way harder to a beginner than the FDM printing. So, and based on all those points, I have been waiting to buy my first resin 3D printer. And today I will show you a 3D printer that promise to resolve all those problems. Is the Elegoo Saturn 4 Ultra. I know some people already know this printer, but this is a different approach for this printer. So this is the unboxing video where I will show you what came into the box, and I will tell you the promises of Elegoo about all those points that have been a pain in that place in the last few years when you try to enter on resin printing world. And this will be a first-hand experience of a newbie getting into the resin printing process and telling you if this printer really delivers what they promise. So let's stop talking and let's see what comes into the box of Elegoo Saturn 4 Ultra, and let's talk about the promises that Elegoo is making for you and for me, of course, that this printer will resolve on resin 3D printing. So let's invent. Now, I have to say that this printer was sent by Elegoo directly here to the Inventor's Garage. It's the first printer we received directly from the brand, and they sent me this printer after I sent them a really big list of requirements about how we work on here on the garage. Okay, so we don't accept sponsorship for product review. We don't accept that they make a review of our review video before we publish. So I put all those conditions before they send me the product, and they accept that right away. So thank you, Elegoo, for sending me this product, and trust our work here, and trust our impartiality, and trust that we will tell the people what this product really do. And one of those conditions is that we will tell the people what this product has, the good and bad, and make sure that the people that are watching this video are fully aware of this product capabilities, okay? So one of the way we found to keep doing our work and to give you the possibility to support our job here, it's having an affiliate link. The affiliate link is the best way to keep our impartiality, because if I tell you the product it's perfect, it's awesome, that it has absolutely no defect, and you buy this product and then you get frustrated with that, you will never trust me anymore. So giving you a sincere opinion about the product and about my experience with this product will let you decide if this product is the right product for your needs or not. And then if you decide to buy this product or any other product from Elegoo store, please use our link, because using this will not affect the price of the product. In some cases, you have even a discount using our link, and you will support our job generating a small commission over any product that you buy from Elegoo or AliExpress, like the 3D printers or resin filaments and everything else. Okay, so having that said, let's start looking at the Elegoo Saturn 4 Ultra and its features. Well, let's start talking about the features that this 3D printer promise bring to you if you are intended to start on resin 3D printing. So this printer used an MSLA stereolithography. So it uses a 10-inch screen with 12K resolution. Some people have been talking about the 12K not being a real 12K resolution, and they are right. Okay, so the real 12K resolution should be 12,288 by 6912 pixels. So then you have the real 12K resolution. So this printer has a screen with 11,520 by 5,120 pixels resolution. So why this is not so important? Because the difference between the real 12K, it's so small against the resolution of this printer. And what reals matter here is the pixel density and not the resolution itself. Because even if you take a 14K resolution from some printers on the market, and then you have an area of 300 millimeters wide, you will have a worse resolution, worse quality in your printing compared to this printer, because it has a 12K resolution with a density of 19 by 24 microns. That it's basically 1 micron, it's basically 1 millimeter divided by 1,000. So 1 millimeter, it's so tiny, it's so small. Then you divide that by 1,000 and then multiply by 19 by 24. So this is so small that it's not actually perceptive by you looking to that without any kind of special equipment or microscope or something like that. So this is the difference. 24 microns, it's a very accurate resolution for a resin 3D printer. Here I have a confused information that as a FDM user, I don't know actually why they have this kind of conflicting information, but if you print using resin, please help me on the comments. You can tell me why they have this one. The Z-axis accuracy, it's 0.02 millimeters. At the same time, the layer height can be 0.01 to 0.02. So you have this range. So if you have 0.02 millimeters of accuracy, how the printer can print layers smaller than that? So this is my question as a newbie, okay? So If you have this information, please comment here, help me to understand that. But I will research about this to bring to you on the review video. I will bring this channel very soon, okay? So it has a 4-inch vertical capacitive display right here. So this touch display, it's on the vertical position. Some people complain about that, but honestly, I don't care. Because what I saw on other reviews is that this display, it's very well designed and organized. And I'm talking about the application, okay? Not the physical display, but the application that Elegoo puts inside this machine. So I don't care about this is vertical, horizontal, triangular, or any other format. Since it is easy to use, it brings me a good experience using the printer. So this is something that I will test, I will try, experiment, and then I will bring you on the review video very soon. So then we have the cob light and the Fresnel collimator lens. Just for you that don't have any contact with resin printer, it's very, very important to understand that differently than the FDM, where you are most of the time concerned about the type of material, the temperature of the nozzle, and things like that. On the resin 3D printing, you must be aware of what is the wavelength of your 3D printer. So there are some 3D printers on the market that uses a very, very specific or proprietary wavelength. And this is a problem because you will be dependent on resin from that specific brand, and this is not good. So the most printers on the market use a wavelength of 405 nanometers, okay? So 405 nanometers. This is the wavelength of the light that it's used to cure the printing during the process of the resin printing process, okay? And this is one of the points where Elegoo stepped forward with their technology, because they are using something called collimator lens. So what is the difference? Besides the fact that they are using cob lights, that it's a more dense LED light panels, that it's stronger than the common LEDs, but the collimator lens replaces the need of using mirrors inside the 3D printer. Mirrors have been used for a long time on resin printers, but they cause a kind of distortion on the image depending on the distance the image is from the light source. And at that point, when you are printing functional parts, it's very, very important that you have the most accurate precision to maintain the dimension precisions of the parts you are printing. So using collimator lens, Elegoo, it's able to keep the same proportion independently from the distance the object is from the light source. And this is very, very interesting. I will test that to make sure that this will deliver a very precise part, especially because one of my biggest interests using a resin printer is to use for functional parts, small gears, triggers, and things like that. This is something that I can't print with good quality and resistance on FDM. I will use the resin printer to do that. So I will test that a lot. The printing volume of this printer is 218 by 122 by 220 millimeters. Software. So on the official website, Elegoo said that the software recommended for this printer is the She2Box and Autodesk Fusion. This is awesome because I didn't know that Autodesk Fusion is able to send prints. So I saw something like a module for 3D printers, but I never test that. So now I will do. A couple days ago, Elegoo released their own slicer for resin printing calls Satellite, and it's available for Windows right now, but Elegoo has a message there that the macOS version is coming soon, and I'm looking forward to test this software. Elegoo promised to have resources on this slicer that you can only find on paid software on the market, and they are bringing that into their own software, and it's for free, so I will test that. And my question here is that there are other softwares on the market, and I'm curious to know if I can use any other of the softwares like Lychee or Tango or any other with this printer. If you already have one and you want to tell me what software do you use, please leave the comment here. But I will ask you a favor. Please tell me why you like that specific software. Not just I like this one or Chitubox or blah blah blah, but let me know what makes you like this software more than others, because your comment here, it's your contribution, will help other people that are looking for their first printer, and that comments will help these people understand and help those people make better decisions when they are choosing not only the printer but the software. So comment here, what software do you prefer and why do you prefer that? What kind of facilities that software brings to you and you like. So the other point here is that this printer came with the USB default interface, but it came with Wi-Fi with cluster capabilities. The Wi-Fi, it's more than just a commodity, like you being seated on your desk and then send the print. It's more like the possibilities you can have having the Wi-Fi interface, like monitoring your 3D printer, make sure that everything is going okay, or even receiving push notifications about problems that can happen on your print. It's a neat interface on resin printers, and it's not being something by default on all 3D printers on the market. And more than that, it can help you to monitor, especially because this printer has a camera right here that can show you in real time how your printer is going. You can record time-lapse videos, and more than that, it has an AI function that can detect automatically some kind of problems that your printing it's having, okay? So I'm a little bit older when we talk about AI, because I've been a software developer and architect and security specialist for more than 36 years on the technology sector. And I've been printing more than 10, and I've been testing all those printers in the last year. And a lot of these printers has an AI function that simply doesn't work as they promise. So in this case, I will test and I will try to see if the AI interface and the intelligence of this printer can avoid newbie problems trying to use the printer for the first time. So this will be a fire test for this printer. Okay, the lid, easy to open. I have already tested a couple times. So you can leave the lid at any position. It's easy. You don't have that box that you must remove and find some place to put. This is easy because with one finger you can position the lid in the best position you need. So beyond the fact that you have a lid where you don't have to remove the box and find a way to put that, and you can easily position where it's better for you when you are handling the print. The fact is that this printer has a fixed part behind it, and because of this fixed part, you have the possibility to attach an exhaust device. So you have 4 screws behind here, and you have a lot of models ready to download and print, and then screw on the back of this printer, and use that to exhaust the fumes that this printer will generate, and of course the strong smell, the stink that the resin 3D printing can cause on the environment where you live. So let's talk about the tilt release. Tilt release, it's something that Elegoo developed to solve two problems. First, the first kind of film used on the resin 3D printers was the FEP or FEP. The second one was PFA, that it's the same film used on this model. And the third one is the ACF. The ACF was developed to allow the resin 3D printers to print faster, because this film has smaller flexibility, so it's more rigid, and then help reduce the vacuum effect that the build plate exerts over the vat. They used a rogue surface, and that is a problem, because when you have an optical device that depends on how clear is the image you are projecting to have the better results, having a rogue surface will basically reduce the quality, reduce the details that image will have after passing through that film. The other point is that because of its more rigid, it can cause layer marks. And then Elegoo tried to join the better parts of both worlds. So they use PFA because it's more crystal, it's more transparent, and they try to resolve the speed printing problem, developing the tilt release feature. That it's basically putting the vat into a move platform that can go up and down, but the pivot of this movement, it's in one side of the vat, making the movement reducing the vacuum effect when the build plate is going up and down, because they don't need to go up and down anymore because the vat go down and up right now. So this movement using the pivot reduces the vacuum effect and increase the printing speed from the 80 millimeters per hour, that it's the average speed on the market, to 150 millimeters per hour. That it's a huge increase on the printing speed of this printer. So now I give the spoiler. So this printer can go up to 150 millimeters per hour, and it has another special sensor they called mechanical sensor. It's not something specific, right? So the mechanical sensor, it's just a sensor that it's mechanical, but what it does, okay? So the intent of this sensor is to prevent you to damage your screen and the PFA film inside of that. You know, one of the biggest problems of the resin printing, it's when something released the building plate on the wrong time, like during the printing. And then that piece of solid material drop inside the vat, and then when the build plate gets down, it presses that solid part against the PFA, and it can simply make a hole on the PFA, or even worse, it can break the LCD behind the vat. To avoid that, Elegoo puts this mechanical sensor here that can detect when something solid that shouldn't be there drops into the vat, and then it's pressing the PFA down. So the printer can detect that kind of situation and pause the print, and then send you an alert to verify what is going on before keep printing, okay? So this is something very, very interesting. And then we got to the point that makes me more excited about this printer, and one of the main points that makes me wait too much to buy my first resin printer. By the way, it's 2 points, okay? So first one, auto leveling. Having to loose screws and use a piece of paper and then calibrate the leveling manually, it's something that remembers me the when I start using the first FDM printer 10 years ago. But until a couple months ago, basically all the resin 3D printers used or demand a manual leveling. And some people said that this printer doesn't have actually an auto leveling feature because it doesn't change the build plate position when it's calibrating. What I have to say about that is that if this printer is not auto leveling, no FDM printer is auto level, because what this printer does is detecting the pressure on different parts of the vat and then determine where is the start point and the end point of the build plate before start printing, and then compensate that electronically. It's basically the same principle that all FDM printers use. It is an auto leveling, even using only an electronical method. It's delivering the what matters, that is just put there, run auto leveling and start printing. So this is what matters at the end. And here is the second point that makes me wait too long to have the resin printer, that is the resin calibration. So the resin calibration, it's something that demands a lot of study and tries and errors and until you get proficient on that. Elegoo said that this printer reduced tens of parameters needs to calibrate the resin to only 3, as I can remember. And one of them is the exposure time. And they put directly inside the firmware of this printer a very, very smart feature that all printers should have, that it's an exposure function to put 4 pieces of one of that calibration pieces people use around the internet, but you don't have to print one by one, changing the exposure time and then cleaning up the build plate one by one and then trying to analyze what is better. You can take one G code, upload here, and then divide the build plate by 4 and set what exposure time you want in each one of that squares, and then send the print just once, and then analyze that, simplifying the process and making it easier to calibrate the resin you are trying to use on this printer. So I thought that was amazing, because this is the first time you can see that on a resin 3D printer, but honestly, I think that this kind of research should be on every printer of a long time. Something that we already have on Orca Slicer on FDM with a menu with a lot of different options to fine-tune your filament. Now we have that directly inside the firmware of a resin printer like Elegoo Saturn 4 Ultra, and I will test that a lot because this is one of the most difficult things that you must do on a resin printer to have your print done, okay? So what we have inside this printer, we have a kit here that came with some gloves, the power supply, that it's 110 and 20 volts automatic. We have a bag with some extra screws and some X keys and this special screws to use on your vat. We have a metal scraper. Please don't use this scraper on your vat, okay? This is only to remove parts from your build plate. On your vat, you will use this one. This is a plastic one. This you will use to remove the rest of resin after printing and then put back on the bottle. So use this one. Don't use the metal one, please. You have a Wi-Fi antenna, a USB memory card, 2 masks, and a couple of funnels with filters, like nylon filters or something like that. I don't know, but this is to put the resin back on the bottle and avoid to drop on the bottle some solid parts that can damage your PFA film when you try to use that resin in the future. And here you have a card from Elegoo to use the Cheeto Box Pro. It's valid for 12 months. So you have 1 year of free Cheeto Box Pro is a gift from Elegoo. Okay. So what more we have here? Here we have, this is the power cord. So this is the power cord. And oh yeah, I have the resin drip. I don't know how to call this. Drip what? Resin tray? Resin drip tray or something like that? Call as you want to call this. This is basically a tray that you can put in front of your Elegoo Saturn 4 to avoid drop resin over your printer or even in the front of your printer and then not damage, like you will not be able to use your printer anymore, but visually damaging your 3D printer. But basically it's a tray that you can put here, and then when you remove your build plate, you can accidentally drop resin here, then you will have the resin limited to this tray without damaging or making your 3D printer dirty. Okay, so it's a very, very interesting, very cheap device that all printers should send inside a box for all users. And I believe I talk about everything. Yeah, don't forget to check the links at the description. There you will have all the links where you can click and buy the Saturn 4, the Mars 5, the resins, and a lot of other products and projects to support our job here on the Inventor's Garage channel. Thank you to watching till here. I appreciate your audience and hope to see you on the next video, and let's keep inventing.